What's up everyone, my name is Liam and we are back with the Mazda 3 hatchback because I'm having a little bit of engine trouble with this car. Now chances are if you're watching this video you are having the same issue I am, which is what sounds like lifter tick. It's not, but it sounds like it. Let me give you an example. So yeah, I've been dealing with that on this car for over a month now, and it is very, very annoying. And it's honestly quite embarrassing as well because it does sound like horrible lifter tick or something along the lines of that. But I think it's time we finally fix that, and while I'm at it, I'm going to do a couple of other things as well. Now, how do you fix that? Well, it's a little complicated. You see, the issue that you're having is with the VTCS system, most likely, which is located in the intake manifold, which sits right there. If you're having an issue where your engine is ticking, and it sounds very similar to the video that I've showed you guys, well, I want you guys to do something. Go out to your car and let it warm up all the way. Once it's warmed up all the way, take this solenoid right here and unplug it. Okay. Yo! On specific models of the Mazda 3, Mazda 6, Mazda 5, and every other car that comes with the 2-liter and 2.3-liter MZR engines, these solenoids aren't going to be located right here. They are instead going to be located on this block sitting right there. It's up to you to find out which one matches the same one as this, but this solenoid right here controls the VTCS system on the intake manifold, whether it's open or closed. Sometimes as these cars age, they get vacuum leaks and they get extreme carbon buildup inside of these intake manifolds, which I will happily show you as soon as this one is off. But those and some other problems combined can cause that VTCS system to start malfunctioning and start ticking, similar to that. Unfortunately, to fix this issue, you do have to buy another intake manifold, a known working one. From Mazda, these are almost $1,000, which is an absolute no for me, and hopefully it's an absolute no for you as well. So instead, what I went ahead and did is I bought this one online. This was a used known working intake manifold from a 2007 Mazda 3. I do also recommend going to a junkyard and seeing what you can find there, but it's a little sketchy going to a junkyard for one of these things because the inside of these intake manifolds are pretty darn complex, and it can be a little hard to tell whether it works or not without, putting it on your specific car. Another thing to note for those that have the 2-liter and the 2.3-liter NA MZRs, make sure you're getting the correct manifold because I believe there are specific differences between the 2 liters manifold and the 2.3 liters manifold. But with that being said, enough talk, let's go ahead and get this thing off. I'll show you what to do. We'll put the new one on. I'm going to put some new gaskets on while I'm at it, and hopefully I'll be able to install my oil catch can while I'm at it as well. So, like I said, let's get started. First up, we are going to remove the strut bar on my specific car, and we'll just set that to the side. And now what we're going to do is take off this battery cover if you still have one. We'll toss that to the side. And the same thing goes for this air duct right here. We'll just take that right out and put that to the side. Since we are going to be touching a lot of electronic items, let's go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal for the battery. And now that we're done with that, the next plan of attack is taking off this intake right here. Now, of course, I have an aftermarket intake, but if you have the stock airbox, it's also relatively quite simple. What you'll want to go ahead and do is disconnect the MAF sensor right here. So we'll just disconnect it just like that. Next, there's going to be 4 clips on each side of the square airbox that's located right here. So you'll want to pop those up just like you're changing your air filter. And then you should be able to loosen this bracket right here with a 10mm wrench. Slide your intake tube off. And finally, disconnect this similar hose that's located on the OEM airbox as well. And just take that off and your intake should come out. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove mine real quick, so I'll be right back. And just like that, our intake is removed. Now I just put mine to the side because honestly, I don't need to remove this all the way to have access to this intake manifold. But with that being said, our next plan of attack is taking off this throttle body right here. We're going to take this connector right here. You're going to use your nail to pull up on this red tab, and then you'll take the plug right here, squeeze onto it just like that. And there you go, the throttle body cable is removed. Next up, we're going to want to remove these coolant hoses going to the throttle body right here. So there's one right there, and there's another right there. And these are relatively easy to remove. You can either use pliers or your own hands like I did for this one. And you'll just take this, squeeze it, move it back just like that. And then you'll want to take this hose and kind of twist it to the best of your ability, because chances are it is going to be stuck on there. But once you twist it and you can hear it break free, just pull it right off and put it to the side. Now, because this hose is so short, it might be difficult to remove with the throttle body attached. So next up, let's go ahead and remove the 8mm bolts surrounding the perimeter of this throttle body, and that'll give us a lot more room to take off this hose. Now that we've got the throttle body removed, it's time to start working on the vacuum hoses and the wiring harness that is located on the top of this manifold right here. Now, I started off with this one because I wasn't really sure how this thing came out. It seems like you can just take a pry tool, pop it up just like this. It takes a little bit of work, but it does come out. Next up, we're going to work on this one because, again, I have no idea how this thing comes off at all, but we're just going to start trying things. All right, perfect. That came off. So what you want to go ahead and do with this one is try and split this red thing. Just try and angle it that way as much as possible, and if you do it correctly, this thing will pop right off. Alrighty, now that I've disconnected the vacuum hoses going to this intake manifold, I also went ahead and disconnected the wiring harness from both of these solenoids and the little tabs holding it in place. Now, this is pretty darn easy, and I'll show you exactly how to do it with this one right here. All you want to go ahead and do is grab yourself a multi-tool or some needle nose pliers and squeeze in just like this while you pull out. It's very hard to do on camera, but once you've squeezed it, you should be able to just pull it right out. There's going to be one right here, one right down there, another one right here. If you can't see it, it's right there, and one right there. After that, you're going to have this little clip right here holding this harness on as well. Mine's broken because I did my valve cover, and chances are yours will probably be broken as well. That's just how it goes with these old cars. But once you've got all that removed, you can go ahead and just slide this harness out of the way, just like this. And now we've got a lot more room to work on getting this manifold out. For now, what I want to go ahead and start doing is disconnecting this map sensor, which is located right there. And for context, I'll show you this manifold. As you can see, there is a map sensor located on said manifold. And now that we've got the map sensor disconnected, we'll do the same thing to this connector, which goes right there on this solenoid, as you can see. So we'll take that off, same procedure. You just squeeze the locking tab right there, and yeah, it'll come right off. Not really, it's a pain to get off, but you know, I can't really record everything here. Okay, so a little while later, and we've got the entire manifold unbolted. Now let me show you what exactly I did. There are going to be a couple more of these little clips right down here, and I'll show you where. There's going to be one right there for a wiring harness. There's one right here, one down there, this one right here, and then you should be free from all of the harness BS. Next up, it's time to take off all of the 10mm bolts holding on the intake manifold. And to do that, you're going to need a couple of extensions. The ones that I used are this one right here and a shorter one right here. Now, if you take a look at the manifold right here, you're going to see a bolt hole right here. There's going to be one right there. There's going to be one through here, two through here, one right there, and then one right down there. These two right there are the longer bolts, so keep that in mind when taking off this manifold. The last thing you want to disconnect is the PCV hose, and I found it easier to disconnect it straight from the valve located on the block right there. So yeah, you just kind of pull the manifold back a little bit, as much as you possibly can, because this hose is relatively long, so you've got a little bit of leeway there. Then I use some pliers on this C-clamp right there to squeeze it and pull it back, and this hose just comes right off. Now at this point, this manifold should come off. And just like that, I've got the manifold removed. That was a pain in the butt. And I think while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this PCV valve because it is literally just right there. So, yeah. And we're back. I took a little break. I went to the parts store and I grabbed this. This is a new PCV valve for the car. I figured I'd replace it because it's only 20 bucks and we've already got the manifold out, so literally why not? I highly recommend, if you guys are doing this job, that you do the same thing that I'm doing. And while you're at it, pick up a PCV hose as well, because a lot of times those like to dry rot and crack. Now, for my instance, I'm going to be cutting mine, so I didn't grab another one because it's going to get cut in half and used as add-on pieces for the hoses that I'm going to use for the oil catch can. But I did go ahead and pick up this. So what we're going to go ahead and do is push this in right here. And now we've got the PCV valve installed. So let's go ahead and focus on our new manifold, which is right here. As you can see, I've transferred all the hoses and the solenoids to this new manifold. I also took the map sensor out and cleaned it with some cleaner. I use this stuff right here. Should work perfectly fine with a map sensor. But before we put this on the car, I do have to do one more thing, and that is take this hose and route it onto the PCV valve up there and one off of the manifold right there. So I'm just going to do this off camera. It's irrelevant to the video, so yeah. As of right now, this intake is ready to go back on. As you can see, I also put the new gaskets in. If you have old gaskets, it's very, very easy to take them out. You just use a pick or a flathead and just pry them out just like that. It's very easy, straightforward, and simple to do. And just like that, we've got the new intake manifold in place. It's not fully installed, of course, but it is in place. Now, I do want to share a little trick that is going to definitely help you guys out when putting in this middle bolt right here. As you can probably tell by now, you have no access from the sides. You've got barely any access from the front, and of course on this side it's the same exact thing. It's very, very difficult to line up this bolt, especially with the fact that you need such a long extension to get to it, which means you can't even go in straight. Now, what I did when installing mine, I took a little stick magnet and I put a bolt on top of it. Now, before putting the manifold in the car, I dropped the bolt all the way down until it hits the hole, and that's it. I mean, you know, now you've got the bolt right in the hole right there, and all you've got to do is just push it in slightly, just like that. With that, hopefully the sleeve will hold it in place while you put the manifold back in the car. Then you can put your extension in, tighten it up like you normally do, and yeah. Now I do need my bolt back. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is get all the bolts installed, and I'll get right back with you. Well, I've got the intake all fastened up. All the bolts are tight. I also got my oil catch can put on. As you can see, I snipped the lines a little bit to make them shorter. And yeah, this thing fits like a glove right in this spot. The strut bar should clear it totally fine. But now that I'm done with all this, it's time we get this throttle body put back on. And I highly suggest, before putting that on, that you take some throttle body cleaner and you just spray it down real quick. I didn't have any, but I just took a dry napkin and just wiped away all the carbon that was on the backside of this thing. So yeah, I mean, as of right now, this is ready to go back on. And just like that, we are finished. Everything is bolted up. I've got all the wiring harnesses clipped back together. Everything is nice and neat. And yeah, I'm super, super proud of my little job I did with this oil catch can. It definitely came out very nice. And I'm very much hoping, of course I've got to hope, you never ever know, I guess. Gotta hope that replacing that intake manifold fixes my tapping issues. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just let the car sit out for a little bit because I did spill a little bit of coolant. In a little while, I'll do an idle relearn because we did just mess with the entire intake system. And yeah, we'll fire it up and see if it fixes the issue, I guess. Alrighty, we're going to be doing the idle relearn in this car. It's quite simple. All you've got to do is stick the key in the ignition and turn it to the on position and leave it there for 1 minute. Turn it to the off position, leave it there for 1 minute. Start the car with 0 accessories on, no radio, no lights, no air conditioning, and let it idle for about 5 minutes. Start slowly turning accessories on, such as air conditioning, and the radio, and lights, and keep it idling for about another 5 to 10 minutes, and you should be good to go after that. There's really not much else to it. Go ahead and take it on a drive, see how you did, and yeah, I'm scared. I'm gonna do this off camera, so I'll be right back. I guess it's time to try and start this thing. I am actually seriously nervous. There's a vacuum leak. Let's figure out what the heck that was. Oh my god, people, I just had the scare of my life, dude. This thing started up, it sounded so bad. The filter was that screaming noise. If you guys heard that in the video, it was the filter on this oil catch can that was just screeching. But what I went ahead and did is I took the filter off. I used one of these block off plates, like little nubs, you know, this thing right here. I'm gonna put this over it just to make sure that it doesn't come off. It seems to be idling good now. I just redid the idle relearn and started it back up with the block off on that catch can, and it seems to be okay so far. But as you can see, so far we are doing pretty darn good. I'm gonna keep it idling, get it all the way up to operating temperature, then turn the AC on, even though my AC doesn't work anymore. Again, it's the second time with this car since I bought it. Whatever, I'll be fixing that again. I mean, let's come over here. I've got an aftermarket exhaust on this car, and it sounds great. Sounds absolutely wonderful. And just like that, I've got everything put back together. The strut bar is back on. The car is at operating temp, and guess what? No tick at all. So I'd say this is a perfect success. I did have that little scare earlier with the filter on the oil catch can, but removing that and blocking it off made everything perfect. So yeah, dude, I am absolutely happy with today. I've got to do a lot of cleanup. I've got crap everywhere, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up because it took me a lot of work to show you guys this. And yeah, if you want to see more car content such as this, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications so you don't miss another one of my videos. I hope you guys have an amazing day or night depending on where you are, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out.